also. So all the parts will be clearly shown here. Okay. So mitotomes, these are also here. You can see here mitotomes. Then the intra-embryonic column is formed between these two layers. So both the layers consist of the intra-embryonic layers. So intra-embryonic layers is the locations. Okay, in the endodermis, intra-embryonic layers. Okay. So it also gives rise to pericardial, pleural, peritoneal, cavity, etc. So all the forms also develops. These are the cavity also, colon cavity also, sclerotomes. So all these are the cavity will be developed with this layer. That is the mesoderms. Okay. Then MCQ is there. The part of embryonic mesoderm form which the vertebral column develop is. What is the name of the vertebral column is? Develop is sclerotome. So sclerotome develop, sclerotome is one of the part of embryonic mesoderm. It form on the which the vertebral column develop is. Okay. Then the extra embryonic membranes. So not only this, also develop the embryonic membranes, but there is an extra embryonic development which has a particular function. So we will see here extra embryonic membranes. So this is the amniotic fluid, this filled with this cavity, with the amniotic fluids, this, and in the sidewise, this is the outermost layer. Okay, so outermost layer, which will be called as the chorion. Okay, so chorion is the outermost layers. So in the anterior end of the embryo, this anterior end, it's the end of the embryo, which will be situated below this. There is a archenterons. Archenterons is here, so in the middle. So that is connected with the yolk. Okay, so the empty space containing the fluid. So this is a yolk sac. Okay, so yolk sac is also you can see here in the like the structures. Okay, it will be directly connected with the outermost layer, chorions. Okay, the vitelline cavity is also present between the two layers. Okay, so this is the vitelline cavity, or can call it the membranes. Okay, and then there is a formation of the extra. There is a formation of the extra embryonic column. Okay, so this is the extra embryonic column formation takes place. The extra embryonic columns takes place or membranes which consist of, or it will be developed during the development of the human embryo. So when the human embryo develops, simultaneously there is also development of the extra embryonic membranes. The parts such as the amnion also is developed. Then there is a allantois also developed. Then there is a yolk sac also there. Then there is a chorion also there. So all the parts which will be situated here, okay, with the extra embryonic columns. Okay. So this development of the human embryo, 4 extra embryonic or fetal membranes are formed. So like this, there is a number of the fetal membranes are formed in the embryo. Okay. The extra embryonic membranes development expressed by the formation of the membrane which helps protect the embryo from. So this extra embryonic, it means the function of the extra embryonic membrane is to protect the embryo. Okay, so protect the embryo from the factors. So what are the factors? Such as the desiccations. So desiccation, it will be protected. Desiccation is also there. Then mechanical shock, means then there is a mechanical shock from the outside. It will be protect the embryo. Okay, the exchange of gases. While the exchange of gases, okay, so whatever the movements are there in the body, so it will protect the embryo. Absorption of nutrients. absorption of nutrients. When the all the tissue which absorb the nutrients, so in that cases, the embryo also gets protected. And elimination of waste. Whatever maybe the waste products are in the body, they may be get released from the body. So that time also there is a protection of the embryo. Okay. So these are the some reasons which will be caused to embryo and it will be protected by the only extra embryonic membranes. Okay. The formation of the amnion and chorion in human embryos is different from that in the other amniotes. Okay, so other amniotes cannot be shown, only it's the formation of amnion and chorion in the human embryo. Okay, then extra embryonic membranes also consist of the amniotic cavity, of course, then amniotic ectoderms means it's the outer layers, ectoderms, then syncytiotropoblast is also shown in the second layers. Okay, yes, you can see. Okay, the epiblast adjacent to the tropoblast migrates away from the tropoblast, forming the amniotic cavity. So when there is amniotic cavity, the amniotic ectoderms which will be forms. Okay, so then there is the embryonic epiblast. Epi means outer sides. Okay, which is the hypoblast. Epiblast lies to the hypoblasts. Okay, the lining of the amniotic cavity is made up of the cells called as the amnioblast. The lining of the amniotic cavity, which is the amniotic cavity, is made up of the particular cells called as the aminoblasts. Okay, so these are the cells which is called as the aminoblasts. Okay, this is the hypoblast. This is the aminoblasts. Okay, the amnion is filled with amniotic fluid. So this is the amnion area. So it will be filled with the amniotic fluid. Amniotic cavity contains amniotic fluids. Okay. So these amniotic fluids also helps for the detection of the fetus. So particularly the sex of the fetus, where there is a male or there is a female. But actually it is used for the diagnosis of or the disorders of the fetus. Okay. But there is a misuse of the knowledge of that technique. So amniotic fluids also used for the detection of the sex in the particular fetus. Okay. Extra embryonic membranes also has a, it is pushed down. Hypoblast is pushed down, forming a lining of a cavity called as the yolk sac. Okay, this yolk sac also develop with the hinge joints. You can see here the hinge joints. Then tall folds also there. Then foregut also there. Then head holes is here. This is the area, curved area. It's called as the head holes. And this is the yolk stalk. This is the yolk midgut, the yolk stalk, the yolk sac. Okay. So collectively, the all the parts which will be associated with this the structure, that is the extra embryon. Okay, so extra embryon cavity, it holds all the parts. Okay, then the chorion consists of an outer layer formed by the primitive ectoderm, outer layer, primitive ectoderm or tropoblasts, and inner by the somatic mesoderms. That is also called as extraembryonic mesoderms, from which the chronic cavity is formed. So this is the fetus, which will be decidua vessels here. Then somatic mesoderm is its brownish colors. You can see here is the somatic mesoderm, and this is the tropoblast. Outer, here there is a tropoblast there. Okay, so it will be protected like this here. So that's why the fetus is protected. It cannot be having any injury. Okay. So because of only the extra embryonic membranes. Okay. The tropoblast will be protected. Then extra embryonic membranes also have the chorion undergoes rapid proliferations of the cells and forms chorionic villi. The chorionic villi, so this is the stages to develop structure in the fetus. Mother's blood vessels are there. These are the mother's blood vessels. It will be used for the transport of the blood towards the fetus. Then amniotic cavity is here. The amnion is also here, which is the embryo developed slowly, gradually. Then chorionic villi is here. So the chorionic villi invades the endometrium and it helps in the transfer of nutrients and oxygen from maternal bloods. Okay, from the maternal bloods. Okay. Hello. हा हा आहे ना मी तर जॉईन झालोय. हो. हा आज लवकर ठेवले 10 वाजता. हा then the chronic undergoes rapid proliferation of the cells and form the chronic villi. Okay. The chronic villi invades the endometrium and helps in the transfer of the nutrients and oxygen from the maternal blood to fetal blood. So maternal to fetal blood, it will be transported and there is a gradual development of the fetus. Okay. Next, the extra embryonic membranes. The extra embryonic membrane, it will be, it look like greenish colors. Then chorion is also there, the outer membrane, chorion is also. The chorion surrounds the embryo and other membranes also. Okay, this is a very important part which will be protect the embryo and its development also. Okay. As soon as a fourth membrane called allantois develop as an outgrowth from the embryonic hingut. Okay, so there is a layeric embryonic hinguts also develop. It consists of the outer mesodermal layer and inner endoderms. Okay, alveolatis means these layers. Okay, so these layers, green colors will be shows here. The membrane of the alveolatis meets the inner surface of the chorion, which is the inner surface. Okay, inner surface of the chorion, and forms a highly vascularized regions called allantochorion. So highly vascularized regions. So vascular is there, vascular tissue. So it is called as the allantois. Okay. Extraembryonic membranes. The extraembryonic membranes also the allantochorion contributes. Means the allantochorion contributes the fetal parts of the placenta. So this is the placenta containing the chorions, outermost layer. Then amnions is also there. Then embryo allantos is here, green colors, just to be previously seen in the previous slides. Okay. Yolk sac is also here. The fetal portion of the placenta, maternal portion of the placenta. The fetal portion, which is the maternal portions. And there is a umbilical cords. This is called as the umbilical cords. The structures. Okay, this is the structure umbilical cords. So this cord contains the nutrients or what will be the bloods supply. So that supply blood nutrients will be to the fetus only for development. So it will be directly one end is the connected with the fetus and another end is connected with the maternal portion. Means it stems from the mothers. Okay. So that is the extraembryonic membranes also shows, and it has also the facilitates a more effective and efficient part for the exchange passage of nutrients and it's the respiratory gases. Okay. Hormones also there, antibodies, etc. also there in between the fetus and the mother by the 12th week of the pregnancy. So all the nutrients, respiratory gases, the hormones and antibodies which will be developed in the fetus and it will be required near about the 12th week of the pregnancy. So after the pregnancy, 12th week. Okay. During the organogenesis, this is the development of the organs in the fetus. Regions of three embryonal germ layers develop into the rudiments of organs. Means slowly there is a development of the organs. There is a basement of the organs, and after the basement of the organs, they show the growth, further growth. Okay. There is a MCQ. The fluid that acts as a shock absorber and prevents the embryo from the desiccation is. So shock absorptions also prevented, and there is an embryo of the desiccations, means it will be not the avoided pregnancy like etc. So that is the amniotic fluid. Correct answer is the amniotic fluid. Which fluid? Amniotic fluid. Okay. Another one is the cranium develops a rich supply of blood vessels and forms an intimate association with. Okay, intimation association with. The options are somatofluor, spalancofluor, mesentofluori, both A and B. So this is the correct answer. Okay, spalancofluore. Okay, it will be process. So the next part is the placenta formation. So after this, the actual development of the fetus is done. So there is a before this placenta formation, then the basement of the organs and all the tissues are involved in the process of development of the organs. So placenta formation. So the placenta formation done like this, the fetus, it will be develops in the uterus. So there is a slowly development of the various organs with the cords. So cords, this cord provided the nutrients from the maternal side. Okay. So what happened? Formation of the placenta. The placenta consists of two essential portions. Okay. Number one is they are the maternal part, means a maternal part which is came from the mother, and the fetal part which is came from the fetus. Okay. The maternal part of the placenta is derived from the endometrium of the uterus. Means the maternal part is connected with the endometrium of the uterus regions. Okay. And the fetal parts of the placenta is derived from the fetal membranes. Means fetal membrane present in the fetus and the endometrium of the uterus present in the mothers. There is a female. Okay. So that will be the both the parts are very important to develop the placenta. Okay. Then the placenta is divided into two types. Just we already discussed the maternal components and the fetal components. Means maternal components and fetal components connected to each other, and then there is a development of the fetus. Okay. So what are the maternal components? Just we will see. The maternal components such as number one is the uterine epithelium. Okay. So the uterine epitheliums also take parts in the formation of the development of fetus. Okay. The uterine connective tissue. Uterine connective tissue also helps. Then uterine capillary endothelium. All these are the parts which will be consist in the maternal components. So what are the fetal components? The fetal components consist of the fetal capillary, small pipelines, also there called capillary endotheliums, fetal connective tissue, and fetal chorionic epithelium. Okay, so these are the parts of the fetal components. Okay. Next is the human reproductive systems. In this, the inner region of the cranial release, inner regions, okay, inner regions of the cranial release, it will be a network of capillaries of the umbilical artery and umbilical veins. So there is a groups of the veins and the arteries. Okay, so chronic valley, we can see here, it's a enlarged portions. You can see the chronic valley is here. Okay, so there is a Molino's bloods which will be supplied with these vessels, red colors, these are the vessels. Okay, so in this way there is a location of the supply of the blood in the form of the what we call in the form of the formation of the two structures. Okay, that is called as the network of the veins. Okay, artery, veins, etc. Next is the placenta of human being is also called as the chroniolytic placenta. As a allonoptics also fuses with the cranium in the process of the vascularizations. Vascularizations means the vascularity is there, vascular systems also develops slowly, and then there is increasing in the size of the organ cells. Okay, so simultaneously the process will be done. Okay, intervalences space, which is the intervalences space and development in the placenta, here the structures. Okay, then type of placenta in human female is, what are the type of placenta, what type of the placenta is found in the human female? That type of placenta is called as chroniolytic placenta. Chroniolytic placenta. Okay, next MCK is the placenta is formed by the two structures, that is the chorionic villi and uterine tissue. Okay, so both first and second answer is the correct answer. Okay, the next is the pregnancy. Okay, so this part is considered as how much the process of the formation of the pregnancy, and there is the period of the pregnancy. Okay, so that will be discussed here. It is nothing but it's a period of intrauterine development of the embryo or fetus in the human's uterus. Okay, so what is meant by the pregnancy? It is nothing but it's a period of the intrauterine development of the intrauterine of the embryo of the fetus. Okay, so development of the fetus. So this is the period called as gestation period. Called as gestation period. So gestation period means just like we call as the guests. Okay, guest is it is came for the some time for temporarily, and it will be then go like that. The embryo also develop temporarily, and then there is a birth. Okay, so that is called as the gestation period. It is called as the gestation period. So human pregnancy average near about 266 days. Okay, so that is the average 266 days. That is the 38 weeks. From fertilizations of the eggs or 40 weeks from the starts of the last menstrual cycle. So menstrual cycle also consider the average periods. Okay, starting from the menstrual cycles, it will be calculated the 266 days. Okay, what is the function of the placenta? So what type of the function performed by the placenta? Okay, so functions of the placenta is a contribution or interaction between the mother and the fetus. Okay, the mother and the fetus. So there is an interaction between the mother and the fetus. So that is very important. You can see here. The placenta facilitates the supply of oxygen and nutrients. So this is the cord which will be provides the oxygen to the fetus and the blood supply also, the nutrients also to the fetus. So that's why it is able to develop the fetus. Okay. And it also removal of carbon dioxide and excretory material produced by the embryo. So whatever may be the embryo will be produces the carbonaceous compound, carbons also, carbon dioxide also gas, and excretory materials also, which will be produced by the female. It will be released out. Okay, so this is a very important function performed by the cords. Okay. The functions of placenta. Number one, the placenta is connected to the embryo through an umbilical cord. So this is umbilical cord. This will shows here umbilical cords, which helps in the transport of the substances and form the embryo. So substances also transported. Okay, from the fetus toward the maternal side and from the maternal side toward the fetus. So there is a continuous supply of the transport of the substances. Okay. When the corpus luteum degenerates, when the corpus luteum degenerates, prostrate secreted by the placenta is essential for the maintenance of the pregnancy after the 4 months. So there is a maintenance which we done after the 4 months. Then the other function is the synthesis of the estrogens. That is the mainly called as the estradiol. Okay, estradiol also called rich maternal blood and promotes uterine growth. Okay, so it will be promotes the uterine growth and development of the mammary glands. So what happened in this estrogens? They cause to develop the maternal blood and promote uterine growth. Okay, so uterine growth and maternal blood also develop because of the estrogens. Okay, and then there is a formation of the mammary glands also. Okay. Human chorionic gonadotropins, that is called as HCG. It's similar in its action to luteinizing the hormones, LH, luteinizing hormones. It's called as the LH. This also we synthesize in the females. Okay. The human reproductive system shows the functions of the placenta. The human chorionic gonadotropin send the message of the pregnancy to the master endocrine system. Okay, so there is a development of the pregnancy there. It send a message of the pregnancy, that is to the master endocrine system. So that what happened? The LH is secreted to maintain corpus luteum and to prevent menstruations and further ovulation. So menstruations, it will be prevented after the pregnancy, and other that is called as the further ovulations. When there is no formation of the ovules as such and eggs also. So the total process is stopped. The placenta HCG, then there is an anterior pituitary glands, that is also called the adenohypophysis. Okay. So LH also maintains the corpus luteum and it also prevents the further ovulation. Maintaining of the corpus luteum and prevention of the further ovulation. The prevents menstruations also. So menstruations, menstrual cycles, it will be totally prevents, it stops, and also maintains the pregnancy by the corpus luteum. So corpus luteum is very important to maintain the pregnancy also. Means there is a slowly development of the fetus. Okay. Then gonadotropins. So gonadotropins are excreted through the maternal urines. Gonadotropins excreted from the maternal urine. So how we can be detect? Their presence in urine is used as a test to detect the pregnancy in the early stages. So how we can recognize or how we can detect the pregnancy? So some gonadotropins is secreted in the maternal urine, means in the mother urine. Okay, so when we take the urine sample, then we can detect the presence of that is the detection of the pregnancy in the females. Okay, so this is the simple test to detect the pregnancy. Okay. Functions of placenta. So what type of the functions also performed by the placenta? Okay. The stomatomatriopropins, also called placental lactogens. Okay, placental lactogens. It has an anti-insulin effects on the mothers. Anti-insulin effect on the anti-insulin. So anti-insulin, it will be done on the females. So what is cause? The cause is that the increases plasma level of glucose. It causes particularly increases of the plasma level of the glucose and also amino acids in the maternal circulation. There is a maternal circulation also carried out with the help of the placental lactogens. Okay. In this, there is a way to increase the availability of these materials to the fetus. So fetus require this material for its growth. Okay, and its growth will be carried out with the help of the supply of the placental lactogens. Okay, so it will be gradually developed and develops. Okay. The placental protects the fetal from the relatively high blood pressure of the maternal circulations. Okay. So what happened? The placenta protects also from the fetus from the relatively high blood pressure. If there is a supply of the blood is high, then that time the protection of the placenta also. Okay, done. The fetal tissue having the parental chromosomal effects act as the foreign structure to the mother who produces the antibodies. Okay, so mother also try to produce the antibodies, and that antibodies are very helpful for the fetus. That is called as the antigenic allograft. Okay, so remember this word antigenic allograft produced by the females, that is the mothers. The fetus sustains such a rejection if there is a high production of the antibodies. The fetus sustains as a rejection of for about 38 to 40 weeks by producing certain immunosuppressant substances. So the fetus also has the capacity develop the capacity to increase the immunity, so that supports the immunosuppressant substances. Okay, it will be suppressed down by the fetus. Type of placenta in human female is what type of placenta? Chroniono-alontic. Okay, so this is the correct answer. Chroniono. Then timetable of some events during the pregnancy. Okay, so this will be continued in the next period. This is the timetable of some events during the pregnancy. Okay, so we can stop here.